The story opens inside a crowded bank on a hot afternoon. People stand in long lines, some talking loudly, some complaining, and some checking their phones. Among them is a young girl named Myra. She stands quietly near the end of the line, holding an old brown bag close to her chest. Her clothes are simple and slightly faded, and her shoes look worn out, but she stands with calm eyes and a soft expression. She does not talk to anyone. She just waits for her turn. Her hands shake a little, not because she is scared, but because she is worried about something important. She looks around the bank, trying not to draw attention. But attention still finds her. A rich-looking man named Harris enters the bank. He is tall, well-dressed, wearing expensive perfume, a gold watch, and shiny black shoes. As soon as he walks in, people move aside to make space for him. Some greet him. Some admire him. He smiles proudly, enjoying the respect. But then, his eyes land on Myra. He scans her from head to toe with a mocking smile. In his mind, he quickly decides who she is: poor, unimportant, and someone who does not belong in a place like this. He does not even try to hide his rude thoughts. Harris steps behind her in the line for a moment, but then he moves forward and stands next to her as if she is invisible. He clears his throat loudly so that everyone around can hear him. Then he says, "Do you even have a bank account?" His voice is filled with arrogance, and the people around begin to look at Myra. Some whisper. Some laugh quietly. Myra hears everything, but she does not raise her head. She presses her bag closer to her chest and stays silent. She is used to judgment. She has lived with it for many years. Harris leans closer as if he wants to insult her more. "Let me guess," he says loudly, "she wants to check her 5 rupee balance." People around laugh openly now. A few shake their heads with pity. Some look disgusted. But Myra does not react. She keeps her eyes on the floor and waits for her turn like nothing happened. Silence is her shield, and she wears it proudly. The line moves slowly. Sweat forms on Myra's forehead, but she stays calm. She remembers why she came today. She needs to check her account because she is planning something big, something that can change her and her grandmother's life. This thought gives her strength. She takes a deep breath and steps forward when the person before her leaves. Finally, her turn comes. The bank officer, a middle-aged man with glasses, looks at Myra and gives her a quick, tired glance. He judges her the same way Harris did, without even trying to understand her. "Yes. What do you want?" the officer asks in a dry tone, as if Myra has already wasted his time. Myra answers softly, "Sir, I want to check my account balance." The officer sighs loudly, like it is a big burden. "Give me your account number," he says. Harris steps closer and stands right beside Myra, pretending he is interested in the bank process, but he is actually waiting to laugh again. He wants to embarrass her even more. He crosses his arms and smirks. Myra takes out a small notebook from her bag. It is old, torn at the corners, and looks like it has been touched thousands of times. She opens it carefully and shows the officer the written account number. The officer types the number into the computer, still looking annoyed. The screen loads slowly. There is a short silence in the room. Harris smiles, ready to make another joke. But when the officer sees the balance on the screen, his face changes instantly. His eyes widen. His eyebrows rise. His mouth slowly falls open. He leans closer to the screen, thinking he typed something wrong. He rubs his eyes and checks again. The number is correct. The balance is real. The amount is huge, so huge that it should belong to someone rich, not someone who looks like Myra. The officer suddenly sits up straight. His voice changes. His face becomes serious. "Madam, one moment," he says with respect. People around notice the sudden shift in his tone. They start whispering. What happened? Why is he calling her madam? What did he see on the screen? Harris frowns. He steps closer to see what is happening. His confident smile starts to fade. The officer stands up and asks a junior staff member to bring the bank manager. Everyone now looks at Myra with curiosity. Some step forward. Some try to peek at the screen. The simple girl who was being laughed at a few minutes ago suddenly becomes the center of attention. Myra's heart beats faster. She has no idea what is happening. She only came to check her balance, but the entire bank is now reacting as if something unbelievable has been discovered. Harris swallows hard. The officer turns the screen slightly away so no one can see, but it is too late. Harris catches a glimpse of the balance. His eyes widen in shock. The color drains from his face. The number is something he never expected. The girl he mocked. The girl he laughed at. The girl he treated like dirt. Has more money in her account than he could ever imagine. And in that moment, the entire bank goes silent. The truth is out. The bank becomes silent, but inside Myra's mind, everything becomes louder. She stands still, confused, while the officer calls for the manager. People look at her with wide eyes, but she does not know why. She only wanted to check her balance. She never imagined that her quiet visit would turn into such a big scene. Her fingers tremble slightly as she holds her notebook. She thinks about her grandmother at home, waiting for her. She promised she would return quickly. But now, something unexpected is happening. The bank manager arrives, a tall man with grey hair and a polite smile. But when he reaches the counter and sees the screen, his smile disappears, replaced by deep surprise. He looks from the screen to Myra, then back to the screen. "Is this your account?" he asks softly. Myra nods, unsure. She cannot understand why everyone is acting this way. The manager's voice becomes respectful, almost gentle. "Please come with me," he says. Myra hesitates. She looks at the people around her. Everyone is staring. Some whisper, some raise their eyebrows, and some look guilty for laughing earlier. Harris stands frozen, his mouth slightly open. His ego collapses slowly, like a building losing its base. But Myra does not look at him. She only looks at the manager and nods quietly. She follows him into a small glass office. The door closes behind them, but outside the crowd continues talking. Inside the room, the atmosphere is calm. The manager offers her a chair. Myra sits down carefully, unsure if she should feel scared or safe. The manager sits opposite her and folds his hands. "Do you know your balance?" he asks kindly. Myra shakes her head. "No, sir. I never check it. I only deposit small amounts." Her voice is soft, honest, almost shy. The manager takes a deep breath. "Your balance is very large, very, very large. Do you know how this happened?" Myra shakes her head again, more confused. "No, sir." And then, slowly, the truth begins to unfold. The manager prints out a long sheet of paper, so long it curls onto the floor. He places it gently in front of her. The paper shows years of deposits, transactions, and interest. Some deposits are small, some big. Some are made recently, but some go back many years. And just like that, Myra's memory opens like a book. She remembers her father, a loving man who always told her, "Save every coin. Life will change one day." He worked as a driver for a rich family. He drove long hours, slept little, and spent most of his life behind a wheel. But he never complained. He always tried to give Myra everything he could. Every night he returned home late, tired but with a gentle smile. Myra was young, but she remembers how he always kept his salary envelope safe in a small metal box under their bed. Before he died, he called Myra to his side. His voice was weak, but his eyes were full of worry and love. "I have saved something for you," he said. "It is not just money. It is my hope for your future. Promise me you will use it carefully." Myra nodded, tears falling on his hand. That was the last promise she ever made to him. After his death, she and her grandmother struggled. Their income ended. Their life changed overnight. Myra started doing small jobs, washing dishes in a roadside dhaba, packing items in a small shop, helping a woman clean her house, delivering food on foot. She saved every rupee she earned. Sometimes she did not eat properly just to save more. Every few weeks, she went to the bank and quietly deposited the money into the same account her father had opened for her long ago. She never checked the balance. She believed her father's savings were small. She thought her small earnings were just tiny drops. She never imagined all that money had grown with interest over the years. She never imagined that her father had saved far more than she ever knew. She never imagined that her quiet, simple life hid a truth so powerful. Back in the bank office, Myra's eyes fill with tears as she stares at the long sheet of transactions. Her father's old deposits are there, carefully listed, month by month. Her own small deposits are there too. Together, they have grown into something life-changing. The manager watches her gently. "Your father must have loved you very much," he says softly. Myra nods, wiping her eyes. "He did." Outside the office, Harris presses his ear to the glass, trying to hear what is happening. His pride burns. He cannot believe that the girl he mocked is actually someone with wealth, maybe more wealth than even him. The laughter he enjoyed earlier now echoes back at him like a punishment. The manager continues, "This money has been in your account for years. With interest, it has grown to a very large amount. You are not just saving money, you are sitting on a treasure your father left for you." Myra feels her heart beating fast. A treasure. For her. It feels unreal. She takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Her father's voice echoes in her memory, "Life will change one day. Maybe today is that day." The manager gives her a warm smile. "You can use this money to change your life. You can start a business, you can get treatment for your grandmother, you can do anything you want." Myra closes her notebook slowly. Her eyes shine, not with pride, but with quiet strength. She whispers, "Thank you, Papa, your promise is still alive." And outside the door, Harris stands frozen, unable to believe the truth. Inside the manager's office, Myra sits quietly, still trying to understand the truth she has just learned. Her hands rest on her lap, and her eyes remain fixed on the long paper of transactions. The world outside the room feels far away, but slowly she becomes aware of the murmurs, whispers, and footsteps gathering around the glass walls. People are staring at her as if she is someone important. Someone different. Someone powerful. But Myra does not feel powerful. She only feels overwhelmed. The manager stands up. "Wait here for a moment," he says politely. "I need to verify some documents." Myra nods. She feels safe in the small room, but she also feels the weight of the crowd outside. She gently wipes her eyes and folds the paper. Outside, the atmosphere is tense and strange. People who were laughing earlier now whisper as if they have seen a miracle. Some look shocked. Some look embarrassed. Some look curious, almost hungry for gossip. And in the middle of all of them stands Harris, frozen, confused, and angry at himself. He keeps replaying everything he said to Myra, every insult, every laugh, every arrogant comment. His face burns with shame. His ego feels crushed under his own words. He wants to run, but something inside him refuses to move. He keeps staring at the office door, hoping this is a mistake. But deep inside, he knows it is not. A junior staff member walks by and whispers something into another employee's ear. "The balance is huge," she says. "I've never seen such an amount from someone who looks like that." Harris clenches his teeth. He hates how people refer to Myra as someone who looks like that. Because that's exactly what he did. And now the whole bank is watching him, waiting to see how he reacts. After a few minutes, the manager returns to his office. He sits down across from Myra. "Everything is verified," he says with a warm smile. "This account belongs to you. And the money is legally yours." Myra nods quietly. "Thank you, sir." Her voice trembles, not with fear, but with emotion. The manager continues, "Do you know you have not withdrawn anything for years? Your father's savings plus the interest, it has all grown. Many people do not realize how much saved money can expand over time. But your father planned well." Myra looks down, smiling sadly. "He always planned everything," she whispers. Just then, there is a knock on the door. It is soft, hesitant, and nervous. The manager looks up. "Come in," he says. The door opens slowly, and there stands Harris. He is not smiling. He is not confident. He looks smaller than before, as if all the pride he once had has melted away. He steps inside carefully, like a guilty student entering a principal's office. Myra looks at him but does not say anything. "Sir," Harris says to the manager, I think there has been some misunderstanding. I did not know." He stumbles over his words. He cannot find a proper sentence. He glances at Myra. The manager raises an eyebrow. "Do you need something?" Harris swallows. I just wanted to apologize." His voice cracks. The manager looks from Harris to Myra. "Miss Myra, do you want to hear him?" Myra stays quiet for a moment. Then she nods gently. Harris steps forward, his confidence completely gone. He tries to smile, but it comes out weak. I didn't know who you were," he says softly, almost whispering. Myra looks at him calmly. "You didn't need to know who I was," she replies. "You only needed to be kind." Her words hit him like a slap. His face falls even more. He realizes she is not just rich in money, she is rich in character. He nods slowly. "You're right," he says. "I'm sorry." Myra simply nods back. "It's okay," she says softly. But in her heart, She knows she will never forget how he treated her. The manager then stands up. Myra, there are some forms you need to sign. And I would like to talk to you about what you want to do with your money. Myra opens her notebook. I want to use some for my grandmother. She is very sick. And I want to start a small business from home. The manager smiles. That is a wise plan. You have enough money to begin anything you dream of. Harris listens quietly. Every word from the manager feels like a lesson he never learned before. Then, something strange happens. The same people who laughed at Myra earlier begin to approach the office door. They gather around, pretending to check their phones or ask questions, but really, they just want to look at her, the girl they once ignored. Respect replaces laughter. Curiosity replaces judgment. And embarrassment replaces pride. Myra steps out of the office to sign the documents. As she walks through the bank, the crowd moves aside. People lower their eyes, some out of guilt, some out of fear, some out of respect. But Myra walks with the same slow, humble steps she had before. Nothing about her walk changes. Only the way people see her changes. And in that moment, the entire bank understands something powerful. Money does not make someone valuable. Character does. But sometimes money exposes who people really are. And Harris, with his head lowered, understands this lesson more than anyone. After the papers are signed, Myra takes a deep breath. She feels a mixture of relief, pride, and quiet strength. The weight she has carried for years, the fear of judgment, the struggle of saving every penny, the worry for her grandmother, suddenly feels lighter. She glances at the manager, who smiles warmly. You have handled everything very well, he says. Your father would be proud. Myra nods, feeling her father's presence in her heart. Outside the office, Harris stands frozen. He watches as Myra walks back through the bank. Her steps are calm, humble, and controlled, but her aura commands respect. People whisper. Some glance at Harris with pity. Some look embarrassed. And some stare at Myra in awe. He cannot believe the transformation, not in the bank, but in the way everyone treats her now. The very people who laughed at her a few minutes ago now bow their heads subtly, their whispers filled with admiration. The manager comes out to explain to the staff. This is Myra, he says gently. She has been saving quietly for years. The money in her account is the result of her father's planning and her hard work. It is a reminder that appearances are often deceiving. Never judge anyone by their looks. People nod, feeling ashamed of their earlier laughter. A few murmur apologies, but Myra ignores them. She does not need anyone to recognize her, she only needs to stay true to herself. Harris approaches her hesitantly. He opens his mouth but cannot find the right words. I didn't realize, he begins. Myra looks at him calmly, her eyes soft but firm. You mocked me, she says simply. You laughed at me. But it's okay. I hope you understand now that respect is more important than pride. Harris lowers his head. He feels the full weight of his arrogance. In front of Myra, he feels small, not because she is rich, but because she is strong. The manager watches silently, knowing this is a lesson Harris will never forget. He steps aside, allowing Myra to speak. I'm going to use this money carefully, she says softly. Some for my grandmother's treatment, and some to start a small business from home. That is all I need. I don't want luxury or attention. I just want to live with honesty and hard work. Her words are simple, but every word carries power. Harris hears them and feels guilty for all his laughter and mockery. The manager nods approvingly. Very wise, he says. You have turned a challenge into an opportunity. You have shown patience, humility, and intelligence. That is why this money is in your hands. It is a reward for your character. Myra smiles faintly, feeling a warm glow inside. She thinks about her father and how he would have loved to see this moment. Her heart swells with gratitude. Outside the office, the bank crowd watches silently. They see the humble girl they mocked becoming someone important, not just because of her money, but because of her courage, patience, and dignity. The whispers grow louder, but now they are full of admiration. Harris stands quietly, unable to speak, as he realizes the full truth. His arrogance, his insults, and his pride have been exposed in front of everyone. He feels embarrassed, ashamed, and humbled. Myra gathers her papers and slowly walks toward the exit. People step aside automatically. No one mocks her anymore. No one laughs. And even Harris, who once stood arrogantly near her in line, steps back quietly, letting her pass. She does not look at him. She does not need to. Her focus is her grandmother, her future, and the life she is about to build. Before leaving, the manager calls her back. "Myra, one last thing," he says. "Your story is important. It teaches people not to judge others by their clothes, their appearance, or their quiet nature. People will remember today." Myra nods humbly. "I hope so, sir. I don't want to be remembered for money. I want to be remembered for honesty and hard work." The manager smiles and nods. As Myra steps outside into the sunlight, she feels free. The weight of judgment, laughter, and doubt no longer bothers her. She walks calmly through the busy street, clutching her old bag, her steps quiet but confident. She knows the money is only a tool. The real power lies in her patience, courage, and humility. She can now start her small business and take care of her grandmother. She can finally live a life of dignity without depending on anyone's approval. Harris watches her walk away. He feels smaller than ever. His arrogance, pride, and mockery have been exposed, and he realizes that money alone does not make a person important, character does. Myra has won something far more valuable than money: respect, self-confidence, and the knowledge that she stayed true to herself despite everyone's mockery. And in that moment, the bank seems different. People whisper about Myra, not with ridicule, but with admiration. Some look ashamed. Some feel inspired. And Harris, still standing in the same spot, understands that true power comes from patience, humility, and silent strength, not arrogance, wealth, or loud words. Myra walks away, ready to face her future. The screen in the bank may have revealed her money, but it was her courage, honesty, and heart that truly exposed the truth. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden light over the city streets as Myra walked home. Her old bag swung gently by her side, and her footsteps were calm and steady. The events in the bank still replayed in her mind: the whispers, the staring, Harris' shock, and the manager's kind words. But Myra felt something far more important than surprise or fear. She felt peace. Finally, after years of struggle, she knew she had the power to change her life, but she also knew the real power lay in staying humble and strong. Her grandmother was waiting at home. Myra opened the small wooden door of their rented room and was greeted by a frail but loving smile. "Did everything go well, Myra?" her grandmother asked softly, sensing something had changed. Myra nodded and hugged her gently. "Yes, Grandma. Everything is going to be fine now." Her grandmother's eyes filled with tears, but this time, they were tears of relief and happiness. For the first time in many years, Myra felt that life might finally bring them some peace. The next few days passed in a quiet, steady rhythm. Myra went to the bank to finalize her plans. She withdrew a small portion of her savings to pay for her grandmother's treatment and to start her business. She bought a few sewing machines and fabrics, setting up a tiny home-based tailoring shop. Every day, she worked quietly, delivering finished clothes to local customers. Her hands were busy, her mind focused, and her heart peaceful. She did not care about attention or praise. Her satisfaction came from her own hard work and the happiness she could bring to her grandmother. Meanwhile, Harris could not forget that day in the bank. His arrogance, his mockery, and the loud laughter he had shared with others haunted him. He kept replaying Myra's calm, firm voice in his mind. Her words echoed, "Respect is more important than pride." He realized how wrong he had been. He had mocked someone without knowing her story, judged her by her clothes, and assumed that she had nothing. Now he understood that appearances could be very deceptive. Every time he thought about her, a wave of guilt washed over him. One afternoon, Harris went to Myra Street. He stood quietly outside, observing from a distance. Myra was busy sewing, her hands moving with skill and patience. Her grandmother smiled as Myra handed her finished clothes. Harris realized she did not care about him, about money, or about his past insults. She only cared about life, her grandmother, and her own dignity. He felt small again, but this time it was different. It was a lesson he could not unlearn. Some days later, Myra's business began to grow. Customers admired her honesty, quality work, and quiet strength. Word spread that the girl who had been mocked in the bank was hardworking, kind, and trustworthy. Slowly, her business expanded. She hired a few young women from the neighborhood who needed work. Myra's quiet life had transformed, not because of sudden wealth, but because she used her resources wisely, stayed humble, and worked patiently. Harris finally gathered the courage to approach her one evening. He walked slowly to Myra's door and knocked. She opened it, surprised to see him. I wanted to apologize, he said, bowing his head. I was wrong. I judged you unfairly, and I mocked you. I see now that my words and pride were worthless compared to your courage and honesty. Myra looked at him calmly. Her eyes were gentle but firm. She nodded. I forgive you, Harris. But you need to learn this lesson yourself. Respect is earned, not demanded. Pride can blind you. Harris nodded slowly, feeling the full weight of her words. He realized that no amount of money or power could give him what Myra already had: character, patience, and strength. He left quietly, changed by the experience, while Myra returned to her work, unaffected by his presence. As the months passed, Myra's business flourished. She earned enough to care for her grandmother comfortably and even save for the future. But she never became arrogant or boastful. Her old bag remained, her clothes stayed simple, and her smile was quiet and humble. She had everything she needed, yet she valued character above all. One evening, Myra sat by the window, watching the sunset. Her grandmother sat beside her, holding her hand. Myra thought about her father, his sacrifices, and his love. She whispered softly, "Papa, I kept your promise. I worked hard, stayed honest, and never gave up. Thank you for everything." Her grandmother smiled, tears shining in her eyes. "You are my pride, Myra. You are the bravest girl I know." Myra realized then that the screen in the bank did more than reveal her money. It revealed the truth: her father's love, her hard work, and the strength she had always carried silently. And it revealed the character of those around her, especially Harris, who had to face the consequences of arrogance and judgment. In the end, Myra understood a simple but powerful truth: money can open doors, but it is courage, patience, and humility that create a life worth living. She walked forward in life with confidence, not pride. She helped others quietly, stayed true to her values, and lived with dignity. And as for Harris, he never forgot the girl who had silently taught him the greatest lesson of all. The city continued its busy life, but Myra's story left a lasting mark, a story of courage, humility, and the quiet power of truth.